Hello everybody, Bradley here. Thought I'd put a quick video together to show you guys some of the problems that airbrush painters have with painting Lexan car bodies. For those of you that obviously airbrush and have already been painting, you're fully aware of what the problem is with the static that we deal with. And for those of you who are just getting started and haven't ran across it yet, I'll kind of show you what it looks like and how to prevent any issues when you paint it going forward. So, like I mentioned, one of the biggest problems that we have is static, because it's the nature of the beast and what it's made of. It's Lexan. It does come with a covering over the top of it, but it's a plastic, very flexible, but it does hold and contain a lot of static with it. So what happens is when we start painting these bodies and we're in a confined area, whether it be a spray booth or a garage or a basement or wherever you paint, if your paint doesn't get exhausted out of the room and filtered out, it'll hang around. And what happens is these bodies, being plastic, will create static and draw all of the overspray and the mist that's in the air onto these bodies. So what I've done is I put a body here together and had liquid mask on it, and I divided it into 3 different sections here to kind of show you what the static looked like. So on the far left side, it's just basically clear Lexan. I've pulled the film off it and there is no liquid mask on it. So it's just like bare plastic, the bare Lexan. The far right side is what the static that we're talking about. And hopefully we can get kind of a little bit of a shot. I try to create some of that static as you see it on the edge of the body. It looks simply like a lot of different ghost marks, kind of a lot of haze, kind of a lot of film. That's what you're attracting and pulling in out of the air onto the static of the body. Center section is what we're going to talk about mostly. It's going to help prevent a lot of that static buildup and a lot of those errors that you have while you're painting the body. So it's a very simple process. I've been doing it for quite a few years now, and I'm finding out more that the product that I use in a lot more areas of the painting of the body, creating different effects and creating a lot different colors and a lot smoother blends and designs as well. So we'll introduce it to you today and kind of give you an idea of what it does and how it helps you, then also how you can help it going down the road. So I did make a couple posts on this earlier. It was kind of funny, and I always like talking to other people and painters about what they do for static, and there's a lot of different theories and a lot of different product and tips out there that people use. So if you're satisfied with what you're doing and it's working, by all means don't stop doing it. If you haven't experienced this problem yet and you're looking out for help, please try to follow along, because I think this will help you a lot. And then also a couple of the reasons why I don't use some of the product and the methods that people use out there. I'll kind of help, I guess you could say, debunk the reasons why I don't use them. So a lot of times people, when they talk about static, you'll get it mostly is when you're creating the design and you're peeling it off step by step to put the next color on. So as you can see on the far left hand side, I mentioned it's all clear. That's the most susceptible to getting the static to it. So you're really only going to have the problem when you're peeling off to put that next color on. So you're trying to prevent the static from getting in the area that you're painting on, but you're not going to really affect any other area on the body because it's covered with either liquid mask or it's already covered with paint. So what we need to do is try to protect that area before we paint it and give you a little bit of working time with doing it. So with static, I think a couple things that a lot of people mention. First and foremost, I think it's kind of funny in a way, but the gain or the bounce, the fabric softener sheets. A few people mentioned that they use these, and like I said, if they do work for you and they do what you want them to do, by all means don't stop using them. But I will tell you why I don't use them. For one of you, if you've ever felt one, they're very kind of greasy, kind of tacky, almost kind of sticky. And then also, if you ever read inside of what's in one of these fabric softeners, they do great on your clothes and your jeans and pants and shirts and everything. They smell incredible, but they're not what they're made for. They're not doing what you want them to do. Inside of these dryer sheets, there's fragrances, there's softeners, fabric softeners that are into them. And then beyond that, if you actually Google how these things actually work, and I'm no scientist or chemist or anything like that, but these things work in the dryer and they create the opposite static and energy that's created by the dryer. First of all, you have to have heat to kind of heat up all these softeners and fabrics that are inside of this to get them to work. I don't think people are heating them up before they wipe their bodies with them. But also it needs the clothes that's creating a static with it as well. So these aren't really doing any type of good. It's just you're wiping it on a body, leaving a sticky, tacky residue on a body that you're trying to put paint on. So I don't know if you're putting them on the outside of the body and wiping off. Most people say they put them on the inside and wipe the Lexan, but I would not use these. If anything, it's probably going to create more of a hassle, because even when you're done touching, you can kind of feel there's kind of a residue that's left on them. And I'm sure it's going to be left on the clear body as well. So it's a great try. I mean, they're great for clothes and stuff, but they're not creating the effect, and they're not working like they do on clothes in your dryers. The sheets, they also have a fabric softener spray. Same thing with that. It's an aerosol. It's still putting these fragrances and these softeners and everything else in the body. It's not doing a whole lot for you for the static that you're creating in the body. So number one, I do not use those. Put them away, save them for your clothes. If they work for you, I guess we'll see you going around the track with a really good smelling body, but I'll take a paint job over that. The next thing that people say that they use, and I do use it occasionally, it's just regular iso alcohol. It does work well, and it does fix the problem in a very quick manner. And by that, what I mean is you basically take this and spray it through your gun when you have the Lexan bare to shoot your next color. It does eliminate some of the static, but the only problem is you have to do it on every layer that you do, which is not that big of a problem. But what it does is you're not really changing the properties of the Lexan plastic itself. If you were to take the body and shoot it with alcohol and let it sit out in a matter of a minute or two, you can flip it over and you can still see there's still static in there where it's drawing all the particles out of the air and putting it on it. So it does and give you a little bit more working time when you're spraying it, but it doesn't fix it, and it doesn't make it a cure-all for fixing the problem with static. I use it mostly if I have like a small area, if I'm going to do like the nose piece or something on a car. Here's one example, like a little smaller area, or these here where you don't need much time to make that effect, and you can get in there and you can get the paint where you want it and get out of there. But if you're doing it on a bigger area, if you were to do the whole sides of the body or a bigger area, your time is still limited, okay? So it does work. It does give you very little minimum play time to get in what you're wanting to get done. The only other downfall with it too is with the alcohol, when you're peeling these off, the people that are using liquid mask when we do it, you still have all the other cuts on there of all your design that you're going to be doing. So you may be, halfway through your project. You have to be very careful when you're spraying the iso alcohol, because what happens if you get that in an area where you spray too much and too heavily, or you're doing it color after color after color, the alcohol will actually soften up the liquid mask, and it will want to take all of your cuts and fuse them right back together. So you have to be very, very gentle and mist it on very lightly when you're spraying that, because if not, you'll find out in your next color when you go to peel that next section off, those lines are not going to want to peel off very clean, and sometimes, like I said, they'll even fuse back together. So if you do like using alcohol, continue to use it. If you're going to try it, go very sparingly on it. Just mist your body. You don't want to have any buildup or saturation, any area on that body at all, because it will fuse that liquid mask back together instantly as soon as it hits it. So a couple different ideas that people have used out there is a microfiber cloth towel. I don't know if they do it between colors and they get in there, they try to wipe the dust off, or they see these ghost marks and they try to clean it off. Microfiber towels, if you Google it, the reason why they work is the way the fibers are put together on the cloth, they're split ends on the end of it. So when you're wiping stuff down like dust or anything else, the two ends, the split ends of the fiber cloth, actually create a static, and that's what helps pull the dirt off of your countertops or tables and hold it in the towel instead of, you know, letting it fall out. But by doing that, you're creating more static. So you're actually probably hurting yourself by using a microfiber cloth or towel or anything like that. So good rule of thumb, and I say, is when you are painting the inside of the body, there should be really no reason for you to touch the inside of the body at all. Okay, even if you're using gloves or anything like that, there should be no reason for you to touch the inside part of the body. So people then say, all right, so what do I do? I've got the alcohol, which kind of works. I got the dryer sheets going for me with a good smelling body. What do you use? Well, it's a very simple product that I've been using. I've talked to a few painters about it, and they've given it a shot and try it and like it as well. But it's very simple. It's a gloss top clear coat. This is a smaller bottle that I picked up. It's a little 2-ounce bottle. I'll put all this product in the description of the video also, so you can track it down. It's very simple. It's just like a bottle of paint. This is like $3.50. You can get them at Hobby Lobby or any place else that carries the Createx paint. But it's just a clear coat. The nice thing about this is you can get it. This is a gloss. I think I've seen it in a semi-gloss or a satin finish. And they also make a couple different brands. I think the Wicked Color has theirs, which is a little bit more expensive. Very simple item to do. It's very simple to pick up, and I'm finding out more as I use this product. There's a lot of different applications that I'll be posting more videos on where I use this for creating paints and different designs and different shading effects as well. So it's a product that it's good to have on hand. I've been trying to encourage more people to try it and use it, not only for the ghost issues we have with static, but also it's going to help you creating and help painting it down the road. So how do you use it? Okay, very simple. Most of the paints that I use from Createx, I shoot it straight out of the bottle. I have no reason to thin it. Use enough air where you're going to spray it out on the body. And what you're going to do is you're going to dust this on with your gun. So when you go to paint it, and you have that next color sitting down there to paint, or even your first color, you basically take and you coat the inside of that with this clear coat. It doesn't take much to cover it, and it doesn't take much for it to dry. What I've done on this body, and hopefully it'll show you, I'll put some more pictures on my Facebook page, it'll give you a little better idea. The left side of this body is totally clear. The right side, I've actually created these ghost marks and these static marks by using clear coat. Okay, the center section, I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Like I said, I'll post pictures elsewhere also. It's where it has the clear on it. Okay, so what you're basically doing is we are tricking the body and tricking the static and saying, hey, look, we have paint on the body now, but it's clear paint. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's not going to allow that static to get onto that body, because now you have that clear Lexan that it was covered by a clear paint. A lot of things that's going to benefit you by doing this is, one, it changes the whole texture of the inside of the bodies. So for example, if you took the clear Lexan and you felt the inside of it, everybody has, it's kind of grippy or kind of tacky. If you come over and you feel the area where I put this gloss coat, it's very slick. Very, very slick. Doesn't hold nowhere near and grip the paint as much as what is on the clear part of it. So what we're doing is we're basically putting a clear primer or filler or a paint over the area to where the static is not going to want to go in that area. It can't create any static at all. What that allows you to do is when you're in a tight area or you're starting to paint, the static is not on there. So as that paint flows, it's going to flow nice and evenly over that whole area. So for example, if you were doing a tent scale body, a lot of times when you start to paint is you're going to start out, and what's going to happen is you've got that clear plastic with nothing on it creating all that static, and it's going to grab the paint. Well, when it grabs it, it's going to grab it and it's going to start putting all these ghost marks on it. For all those painters that's out there, when you start to paint it and you're laying it on, it doesn't want to, the first coat, apply, and it grabs it in different spots on the body, and it doesn't apply it evenly throughout. So what we're trying to do is make sure that when we paint it, that the paint is going to grab evenly and a nice flow coat over everything. So when you're taking the body and you've got the coating of the clear on it, when you start to spray, you'll see that you're not going to have any of those mist marks or any of those blotchy spots in it. The biggest part where you're going to notice that is when you shoot a pearl paint. Okay, so if you have like a pearl blue and you don't have any protecting on it, you may have that paint shaken up really well in the bottle, and you may have it, you know, stirred up really well in your cup when you're going to spray it. But as you start spraying and you work your way around that body, all these static marks is grabbing the pearls at a different rate. So when you get the whole thing coated, you can still go back and look. You can possibly see a lot of these marks in here where that static has grabbed the pearls, because as you work your way around the body, the paint in that cup goes down. So the pearls in the top of that cup and the bottom of the cup can be slightly different because you're not mixing that paint up all the time. As you're spraying it with your cup, it's grabbing all the pearls and stuff as it comes out the gun. So I've seen a lot of times where if you've got a big surface area, you can take and you can try to spray as evenly as you want, but when you go back and you pull the film off and you can look at that body in the light and you look across the hood, you're going to see a lot of these ghost marks still in the paint, even though it's all one color, because the pearls have been attached to the body by static at a totally different rate. When you put the clear on like this, you are not going to have any of these ghost marks at all. It's going to be a nice, flat, thin, even coat of paint across the whole area, regardless if it's a big area on a drag body or an 8-scale on-road body, anything of that nature where you've got a big open surface. It will lay nice and flat because you have no static. It's grabbing the paint as it's applied onto the body instead of pulling it out of the air. It's very easy to apply. I usually use a couple coats of it. When I applied it on here, what you want to get it to the point to where you'll see is when you start to first put it on, you're going to see these ghost marks. Okay, it's like a paint, but it's clear. But you need to get it to where it's more of a solid clear. Okay, if you can see in the center of this body here, it's definitely more solid clear than it is on the outside. So when you start to use this and you want to give it a try, when you dust it on, if you look at it and say, oh man, it looks even worse, you know, there's still all these ghost marks, it's still clear. You're not going to see that. You just need to apply more of it. Put a second coat or maybe even a third coat if you need to put it on. Apply it light. Don't go heavy with it. Apply it like I tell you to apply any type of your paint. Nice, small, even coats. Use your hair dryer to dry it between coats. 30 seconds to a minute and it's going to be ready to dry. But you'll get to the point to where when you start to use this, you'll put it on and you'll see it's going to change the look of the clear Lexan right away, like hopefully you can see in this picture. Don't worry about it. It does not change the color of your paint. It doesn't affect any of the shading colors. It's clear. Okay, there's nothing that's going to change it. Your paint's going to apply all the same. A couple of people that use this, do not think that you add this with the paint. It needs to go on the clear Lexan body first by itself. That's what you're doing. You're basically covering up the clear Lexan with this clear top coat to put on it. Do not mix it with the paint. It goes straight onto the body. Also, a lot of people are saying, well, I use this here as a adhesion agent. You know, there's all types of product that's out there by Createx for, you know, an adhesion promoter that you mix in with the paint. You know, that's not what this is meant for. What it's meant for is to basically remove the static out of the body. It's like the paint. I don't have any issues with any of the clear coats or any of the paint sticking to the body. If you're having issues with the paint sticking to the body, there's other issues that you've got going on, that how the paint's applied or how your processes you're doing it incorrectly. So it's not an adhesion promoter. It does not go in the paint. It goes straight onto the body. A couple other things that's really good with it, that I like using it for, is it gives you a lot more work time. Once you get it applied onto the body and you're down in the booth area, you can basically let this body sit. There's no static that's going to go to it because nothing's created to it. Your overspray, it's not going to attack to it like it will sitting with just the regular plastic. So it gives you more working time than the alcohol. This here also will not take your cuts that you've put and blend them back together and seal them over. You're not applying that much. You're applying it just like paint. So it's just another layer that you pull off. So you're not going to have issues with if you apply it correctly in the light coats like I talked about, it's not going to build up in all your cut areas where it's going to seal off, where you're going to have a hard time removing your next coat of Lexan. So hopefully that will help you out. I've found myself using more and more of this gloss top coat throughout the processes that I paint. Like I said, I mentioned that I use a lot for different type of textures and different fades and shades for paints, and also creating different paint with that that I'll show you later. So if you can't find this in gloss, like I said, they make it in a matte finish or satin finish or even a semi-gloss. The thing that's kind of cool is I usually get the gloss because that's all they have, but if they have a matte finish, it may help you also, because it'll kind of show you as you hold it up. You're going to see where that area that you just sprayed is going to be that flat look. This here is kind of relatively flat also, and this is the gloss coat. But it's very easy to see once you put it on there and try it. Like I mentioned, if you put it on and you're going to try it for the first time, just do light coats, build it up to where you see these ghost marks go away and the static go away. And you'll find out that it's going to work a lot easier for you. It's a cure-all. It beats alcohol, hands down. It beats the static guard, the dryer sheets. Always. It's almost, and I don't want to say foolproof, but it's pretty darn close to it, to where you're not going to have any static on it. So the other thing that I'll touch very briefly on it to it is when you are painting, what you will find also is when you have this gloss finish on it, it will change the way the shading effects work. And you'll find out mostly when you're trying to do either drop shadows or you're trying to edge another color, the way the paint attaches to this gloss coat is so much smoother. You'd have to, when you try it, you'll totally understand it. When you're shooting on the regular clear Lexan without any clear on it to protect it at all, it doesn't grab it smoothly. It wants to blotchy, and it'll grab heavier in some areas. Well, now you got to go back and you got to try to even it out. You got to go heavier on the one end and lighter on the other. Sometimes it'll not even want to attach to it at all. It just doesn't grab the paint. With this here on it now, with this different feel and the different surface that it got, that it has to it, it attracts the paint so much nicer and smoother. And you'll notice it right away on like your drop shadows and everything else that you're spraying. So I posted a picture about a week or so ago of a drop shadow that I did on the flame of a bed of a gas truck, and it actually looked like the flame was floating. But you have to have obviously hand control on your airbrush when you're painting it, but it also helps with that effect that you're getting and where the paint grabs, and you can create that shadow a lot smoother with this clear coat on it. And I did use clear coat on that truck body also for the picture that I'm talking about. It just makes things a whole lot smoother than without having it. So hopefully that will help you out. I know I covered a lot of it for people that are relatively new. Hopefully it's not too much for you. For people that have been painting for a while, that struggle with the issue, or if you don't have it, I should say just give it a try. Even for the fact of how it's going to shade and blend and grab the paint so much better. I think you're really going to like it, and you'll find that you can create a lot more cooler designs and everything with it. So hopefully that'll help you. Gloss coat, alcohol, pretty simple. I'll put all these products that I use in the comments section on it, to where you can, in the description of how you can get it and where you can use it at. So thanks everybody for watching the videos. If you can, please like and share both my Facebook page and the YouTube page. And we got a lot of more videos coming up with this gloss coat, how I use it, that'll help you out in the future. So once again, thanks and appreciate it.